were planning our own original game, which we then started pitching to publishers at Game Developers Conference in San Jose, and then a couple of publishers were interested in it. The game actually started out as a PSP game, right. Specifically designed to work on that screen, very bright colours, and quite a mobile game. And originally at the time, everyone was expecting PSP to be A, successful, and B, quite multiplayer. People would play together a lot. It wasn't particularly successful, and IDOS specifically, when they came to us, said, we really like the game, but we want it on Live Arcade. Yeah. We're looking to move into Live Arcade. So what happened was we simply signed the project with them and then commenced work on Live Arcade. The game itself is a collect 'em up, played against either an AI character if you're playing single player or another human player. Number of different game modes, multiplayer team play, and a duel mode where you're playing against someone, or a time attack mode where you're trying to get the fastest time possible. Joe came up with the original concept. He's our creative director, and the original inspiration was sort of the early arcade games, that kind of playability, but with more up-to-date visuals inspired by sort of Designers Republic and also games like Wipeout, that kind of styling. So that's where the, if I jump back, that's where all this front-end stuff came, each with a very strong icon. So depending on which one you select, you get access to different power-ups. If I go to the beginning. So for example, rage being an angry emotion, an aggressive emotion, has a power-up called Super Jump Bash, where your cube jumps in the air and bashes down on the grid. And if the other player is within range, then they take damage and they lose pellets because you're collecting the pellets. The weird thing about the game is that while you're rolling around on the level playing, the other player is actually underneath you rolling around, and you can see them through the grid, and so you actually attack them through the grid. You can flip over to their side, in fact you have to score a goal, but you can play through, you can see them through the grid. Fear is a more devious power emotion. It has a power up called Obscure, which when you trigger it, you can continue to see through the level, but for them, the whole level goes opaque and they can't see you. So you can trigger that, then you can grab another power up, you can see them, you chase after them and they can't see you coming, so to speak. Envy has a vortex which sucks in the pellets more quickly, so it's not an aggressive power up, but it does collect more quickly. Melancholy has a nasty, devious power up. It's basically a trap. When you use the power up, it mines the square that you're on, and when the other player rolls over it, they fall into a pit, and they're trapped in there, and they have to bash the B button to jump, or the X button to jump out.
Bit of bashing.
Yes. Bliss leaves a snake trail behind it, which is damaging. So if the other player rolls over that, they take hits. So especially if they've gone into a dead end, for example, you might quickly do a couple of double lines of the snake hit to lock them in. Passion, non-aggressive power up normally, but passion can bowl you over. It has a power slide, which is very good on levels that have long straight areas, because it will allow you to whiz all the way from one end to another, collecting pellets as you go. And if you're really good, one of the more advanced techniques is to actually try and ram the other player, because if you hit them when you're power sliding, they take damage and lose pellets again. But that's very difficult because they tend to get the hell out of the way real quick. Courage has a shield, a super shield, so it's quite hard to harm Courage. It's very tough, so you have to time it very, very well. Rapture, very, very fast. It has a speed up. Quite difficult to control on intricate levels, but certainly on bigger levels you can whiz around really quickly and collect more quickly. So those are the 8. Okay. We'll jump in and show you a multiplayer game.
I've just created one.
Yeah. So when the game first starts, you've got a selection of levels to select from. In single player, the first 8 will be unlocked. There's a total of 32, and you have to play through the first 8. You have to win 4 of them, and that unlocks the next 8.
Okay.
And then you win 4 of those, and that unlocks the next 8, etc. Or there are also mini games to unlock. You have to win all 8 levels in a, or all 8 maps in a level. So player 1 selects the map that they want to play on, and then 2 players get to select the emotions they want. Passion, because that's my favourite. You can't hear very well because we're rather oddly playing a live game with 2 TV sets that are right next to each other.
Yeah.
You can play split screen, or if you're playing live against someone else, each emotion has its own theme tune.
Okay.
So we can only hear his at the moment because he's got his volume up. But normally you'd hear your music from your player, and the skybox colour depends on your player as well.
Okay.
When you're playing the game, you have to flip over to the other side of the grid to score goals in the opponent's goal. When you flip over, the music changes to their music and the skybox changes to their skybox, so that it's very clear to you which side of the level you're on, because you can only collect pellets on your side. And actually, if you, as I'm playing, if you watch and I actually switch over, you see that the skybox and everything changes. So other tactics, you can jump, which gets you around quicker, but doesn't allow you to collect pellets. Whereas I've just used the power slide and filled up my cube, so my cube's now full and I need to go and score. So I flip over to his side, and you see the background skybox has changed. I now score a goal and then I respawn back again. No, I don't believe it! I fell in my own trap!
So as a really kind of sports creator, so we got like goals and stuff like that, so we use that mechanic as well. So it's kind of like a game, one mechanic out of Pac-Man, so you can just play some darts and very retro in kind of pickups and power-ups and things like that. And then you've got the sport element, which is some of the game modes against the time, and then just on this game mode, for instance, the duel, this is against each other, and we give goals to score and such. So.
One thing you can do is steal the other person's power. You can't steal their power. You can steal their power, but as long as you've got it, it won't respawn on their side of the map. Once you use it, it will then respawn for them and they can use it.
So we've also got a couple of tricks as well in the game.
Yeah.
So we can, for instance, if I'm carrying my power ball here, I can eject it on top of another one which is there, and create a white one. If I create the white one, I can then set that off, and this creates enemies that roll past on the other side as well. So we've got,
Thank you.
We've got lots of, we've got, you know, a good few things we can do, sort of things, and all these like in the tips as such. So you learn them as you play.
Yes!
Like that, for example, that's a tip. Just power slide to somebody.